Hello my crafty friends and welcome to my craft channel, Corrine Crafts. I hope you are well. Hope you've been doing some lovely crafting and ready to be inspired to do a little bit more. Today's make is a little bit different. It's all about just having a play, enjoying what you're doing. I've done this gorgeous butterfly. I like how it comes over the edge. We've added some sparkle to it. We've created all our own background. You notice I'm hardly using bought papers at all these days. I'm making all my own backgrounds. We're doing our colouring with our Himi watercolour pencils, which is a little bit different. We've added sparkle, as I said, we've added stamps, we've added sentiments. Really enjoyed this. I hope you have. So let's have a look at the video and I'll show you how I put it together. So today's crafting is all about doing a little bit of mixed media crafting, the sort of crafting that I really enjoy doing. So I've taken this stamp set. Again, I've said it before, I'm pretty certain it's a Stamps by Me stamp set. We'll go with that. I'm pretty certain it is. And it's this gorgeous butterfly. I've done, did a spotlight card with this. So we're going to use it again. And all I've done here is I've stamped it across the edge of a card. Now I've used an archival waterproof ink because we're going to do some watercolours with it. So I've just stamped that and left it. So my piece of card is 5.5 inches across by 6 inches wide. You can go whatever size you want, but that's the size that I'm going to work with today. So the first thing I want to do is I want to create a mask, and you've seen me do this before. So I've got my masket paper, so I've got that on there, and I've made a couple of masks. So I've just basically re-stamped the butterfly out onto a piece of masket tape and then trimmed it out. I'm going to save that one because I think it's all right for a bit longer. And I'm going to actually use this one. As you can see, it's already been partially used. I have actually just sprayed the back of the mask with a little bit of temporary spray. Now one of the antennae has come off, but the antennae is the least important bit. Right, that's stopped it sticking a lot better than it was before. So yeah, if your masket tape or whatever doesn't stick enough, just put a little bit of repositional spray on the back. So what I've done now is I've protected the stamped image that's underneath this piece of card, because what we're going to do is we're going to sort of create a lovely background, but what I want is I just want to protect it. So let me think, which order am I going to do this in? I know I'm going to do it this way around. So I'm going to get a little bit of, now this doesn't show up very much, it is there, I can see it's there. So that's my sandstorm. Don't know whether it's because it's running out or not, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of walnut to it. So we're going to get that, and then I'm going to get my water spray. I love this water spray, it's so controllable. And I'm going to mix it up. So I've got the two sorts of colours in there, and then I'm just going to pick it up just however you want to pick it up. Please don't overthink about it. And then, yep, that should do for now. So pick that up like that. I'm just going to blot it off there, and then I'm going to dry it. So I'll come back as soon as that's dry. That's the brown dry. And I can understand if you said, well, what you would about making muddy colours because you're already using brown, which is a very valid point. But I want to be able to control the colours. Parakeet, these are my colours. Brown and turquoise. I'm just going to dilute that down because it's quite strong, and I'm going to pick some of this up as well. I'm just going to pick, oh, that's gone quite strong, but don't worry, we can blot it, get a bit on there and a bit on there. So if like that you feel like you've got a little bit too much, just go in like that with your paper towel or your cloth and just blot it up. So I'm just going to dry that again. Now the order in which you do your stamping is going to change the effect that you get. So I'm going to bring this onto here. I could protect that if I wanted to, but I've got a couple of stamps. They're really old stamps. So I've got some text one here. It's not real text. This is a rare earth one. It was a collection, something you can see, something to do with books. I don't remember what it was called, but it definitely had something to do with books. So I'm going to get this. Actually, this one is a bit big, so I was going to not put it on the rocker block, but what I'll do is I'll put it on my rocker block. I'm going to get the grey ink. I was going to go with black. I'm going to get the grey, and I'm just going to roughly, I haven't inked it up all over, so I'm just going to then just put a few little bits on. Can you see? Just like that. So I didn't want a whole lot of ink. And then the other one I've got, and this is from my signature collection, is some brickwork, and I'm going to do very similar again. I was planning to possibly put them on my hand, but I don't think I could manage that. I think they're too big. So I'm just going to again, a little bit of a stamp on there, and then onto there and onto there. Now you'll see with this, I have stamped over the butterfly. This one's going to be much better than the trial one I did. That's often the way. So once we've done that, I need to start doing a few bits. I'm actually going to grab a piece of scrap paper because I'm a bit concerned about my stamp mat. So there we go. Oh, that one feels like one piece. I'm going to pop that underneath there like that. And then I've got a couple of stencils. Where have my stencils gone? I've got so much stuff around me here. So I have got, oops, I'm dropping them. I've got some dots, and I've got this one, which is sort of like water droplets. So I'm just going to get these, and I'm going to get some of my inks. I'm going to use the same inks that I used before. And I've got a couple of brushes, and I'm just going to pop on some detail. So I think I might do the dots in blue and the others in brown. So I'm just going to take it up to the edge, and I'm just going to go over the edge. Oh, doesn't that look good? This one's coming out lovely. I'm really impressed with this one. And I'm going to come down here. There we go. Oh, this one's looking amazing. Put that one down. That's all I'm going to do with that. And then I'm going to pick up the swirls. I've just got the right way around. And I'm going to pick up the brown. You'll probably have noticed I don't have a brown dauber, so I tend to use my yellow one. But I do always wash my daubers between projects. So I'm going to put a little bit of brown on. But it's nice to come down over to the right over the butterfly, or where you've masked the butterfly. And then I'm going to just pick that up. It doesn't have to be strong. It can be as strong or as weak as you want. Now what does look nice is when you sort of overlap your stenciling. So can you see it's gone across there. I'm just going to put another little bit of stencil in here just so that it overlaps. Don't try and do whole bits, just little bits. Isn't that looking amazing? Now remember, this is pure white underneath here. So yeah, it's going to look really good. So the next little bit I want to do, I need to keep moving bits out of the way, otherwise I'm going to be swamped, is I want to come in with some more stamps. I've got a rocker block. Let's move those stamps out of the way because I don't need those anymore. And again, those are stencils that you see all the time. These are stamps that you see all the time. So I've got, I'm going to do this one first. Oh, right, I've got from one of my new Sizzix stamp sets, it's some sort of like friendship ones. So this says, it's from here, hello friend. Now I did it before on my stamping platform, but I might be able to get away with this on here. So where is my black? I'm going to get my black archival. I'm going to put it onto here. There we go. That's covered well because it's the second time I'm using it. And then I'm going to bring this in, and then I'm going to just rock that a couple of times. Just get a really good impression. There we go. Hello friend. Isn't that looking lovely? Really loving this one. I'm going to get my numbers. Now, I don't know what's happened to my stamp. I need to have a look at this because it's not sticking very well to my rocker block. But we can work with it. I'm going to get that, and I'm going to just do... I'm sticking with the same sort of colours. You might find that if this drops off, it has to go where it goes. I'm going to stamp that over there. Let's do a little bit more. Aren't the colours gorgeous? I'm almost thinking I like this bit where it's gone over. I really like that. And again, going over my mask. So I'm really making the most of it. So that was one Lou Collins texture stamps. So that had a lovely butterfly on as well. And then the other one from a completely different set. I like using this postage mark. I really like using that one. And all I do though, I tend to just stamp ink there. Now what you can do as well is if you feel like it's a little bit heavy, just take off a little bit of the ink. And I'm going to pop that coming across there. So can you see how we're building it up? Now if you've got any more, then you can be adding more bits and pieces. I think it needs a little bit more. What else have I got? What have I got? what have I got? Oh, I've got a little butterfly here. I could possibly matching little butterfly. I wonder if I could do that one. And this feels like it's never been used, so I have to get this one off. So this is a small version of that. So what I want to do, I'm thinking, is, again, I don't want it perfect. I'm going to go in with the grey just a little bit. And the fact that it's an unprimed stamp is quite good. And I'm just going to stamp just in the background. Let's do one with the brown as well. Again, I'm not over inking because I quite fancy it being a bit faded. There we go. I love that. Right, I'm going to leave it there because I'm going to overdo it otherwise. So the other little bit I want to do is, I wanted that on first, and I'm going to put some texture paste on. So I'll find my stencil. This is where I have to be quite careful. So I'm going to get my stencil and I'm going to pop a little bit of texture paste on. And I'm going to pop it just down here. So I have got some modelling paste, some high density modelling paste. I'm just going to grab that and I'm just going to put a little bit across here. I don't want it to go over the sentiment. Don't worry, it's going over my stamped image. I'll show you what we'll do with that once it's dry. I like, with this, I'm going to try and get fairly complete hexagons. There we go, just go over there. Right. I know with the stenciling I don't use complete shapes, but I tend to do when I'm doing you know, things like that. Don't worry that it's very contrasty, isn't it, from the other bit. And I'm going to let's bring in that bit of my stencil, and then we're going to do the same. Oh, I could do that actually, putting a bit of paste onto here. There we go. Now, I'm not going to be able to get that properly dry. I'm going to give it a little bit of a dry, so bear with me while I give it a little bit. I sort of try to start to force that to dry, otherwise it's going to make what I need to do take a while. But if you were doing this at home, what I would suggest is that you perhaps pause at this point and give it a chance to dry and let that dry. But even so, even though that's quite a contrast to the pattern underneath, it still looks nice, doesn't it? So I will pause the video and I'll come back in a few minutes. Okay, I don't want to dry it anymore because I'm going to scorch it and put bubbles, but it is actually touch dry. I want to add some more colour to that, but I want to give that some time to dry, and I am trying to do this in fairly real time. So I'm going to just peel this off now. Actually, because I sprayed spray on the back, it is sticking quite well, and I think I'm going to have a little bit of glue on here, but I will show you how to combat that in just a minute. There's always a way. Actually, it's not it's holding, but it's not actually leaving residue behind. There we go. Now look at that, the contrast. There we go. Don't lose your mask because I will need it again in a minute. So I'm just going to grab my glue remover tool. I'm just going to make sure there's no glue on here because we're going to do some watercolouring. We're going to do some watercolouring with a new set of pencil crayons that you've not seen me use before, but they are not new. I was given these good 2.5, 3 years ago, maybe even more. So yes, these are very not new to me. This is a set of watercolour pencils that are Tony Derrick gave me once. There's some gaps missing because I've got them out. They are absolutely gorgeous. They're Himi water colour pencils. Absolutely beautiful, the colour range. And do you know what? I have never used them until today, till I've had a practice on this one. And I've got a few out of there. I've got a gorgeous, a couple of blues and a green. So I started off with this one, but I think I need to come more onto this one. I've got a couple of browns. I've actually got a metallic silver and a yellow, and they're all watercolour. So because they're watercolour, it's really easy. All you need is your pencils. I've got some water, I've got a brush, and I've got some paper towel. And I'm just going to paint these. Now the other thing I've got is sparkle pen. And I'll show you what we're going to do with that. So all I'm going to do is, well, let's start with this one. Let's start here. Oh, now that feels a little bit damp. So what I'm actually going to do is grab a piece of paper towel And I'm just going to protect that from my hand. So I'm just going to come up here. Oh, that's quite dark. And then I can blend that out into here. Now, the thing is, when you lay down a watercolour pencil, can you see it picks up the texture of the card? But that's not a problem because we're going to blend that out. So I'm just going to put down the green. And then I'm just going to, just pick out a few bits. So I'll be getting a colour somewhere close to my ink. We don't always have the exact colour that we want. But we can usually get there, usually make it ourselves if not. So let's put that down. And then this one's coming on here. And, oh, what's that bit there? And then down here. Just there. I might need to drag that one out a little. I think I might have stopped a bit soon on that one. So right, so once I've got that, I'm also going to lay down some yellow. So all of these other ones, I'm going to just lay down a bit of, oh, I did that one yellow, didn't I? Let's do some yellow on here. And again, you don't have to be too exact because we're going to blend it all out with our water in a minute. Now, everybody does things like this differently. Somebody might be watching this screaming at me saying, Corrine, you don't do it like that. You do it how it works for you. And if there's a way that makes it work for you, then that's absolutely fine. Yes, there are the sort of the perfect ways. But if you don't want to do it the perfect way, then you don't need to. So, I've got my brush wet. And all I'm doing is I'm coming over the pencil and then I just drag it out. It's taking quite a bit of water actually. It's good. And then I'm just dragging it up to the top and then out to there. And can you see that's blending that absolutely gorgeous? So start at the darkest bit, drag it all the way out and out through that green, and then the water will dilute it so it's darkest at this point and then it's paler up at that point, and it will look absolutely beautiful. So let's come down at here. So all those scratchy pencil marks will disappear. The marks, don't worry, it's gone over a little bit, but it'll be absolutely fine. We can sort that in a minute. Let's come down here and then we can come up here as well. Oh, end's fallen off my paintbrush. I might need to find another paintbrush, one that's a little bit, I like the nib on this one. It's just a shame the end just fell off. Let's just come down here and you can see where there's more water and less pigment, it becomes much paler. But I like that. I like that translucency. I just need to pop a little. I'm going to go in just with this one. I'm going to pop that just there so that we're going a little bit paler up at this one, and we're going to come round. You can see it makes such a difference not having that blue. If you want to, you can go back in once it's dried out a little bit, and then you can always add a little bit more to add depth and just keep working it just like that. Hopefully you can see all that. There we go. So what I've done there, now I'm going to do the yellow slightly different. I'm going to get my shimmer pen, my sparkle pen. I'm going to squeeze it out, and then I'm going to blend this with my sparkle pen so that the yellow has more of a shimmer. Just come up there, because the sparkle pen is water based, so basically it's water with a very, very fine glitter in. So all I'm doing is I'm doing exactly the same as I was with the paintbrush, but this time I'm doing it just with this for a carrier. So can you see how that shimmers? I can see that. I hope you can, because it really does look effective. Just wipe off the ink off there. So I would use the same sorts of colours on this side. So what I would do here is I'd come in with the yellow first. I'd come in with the blue. And what I would do is I'd come round the top edges. Again, remember, we can go back in and we can add more. It's harder to take away. You can take it away with watercolour, but it is harder. I come around here. That's a bit underneath, so I'll perhaps come in a little bit darker there. And just there. And then I'm going to get the yeah, the greeny blue one, and I'm going to pop it down here. And I'm just roughly laying the colour down. You see, it's not too an exact science, it's just approximately. And then I'm just going to blend it with my brush. And so that yellow is becoming quite green at the edges, but that's absolutely fine. And then I can come up here. Now, if you wanted to, because I'm blending, I'm doing it with my brush, but if you wanted to, once you've finished, there's no reason you can't go over it with your sparkle pen as well to get that sparkle effect. But can you see how it changes? You've just got perfect instant watercolour. Now, give you a quick top tip. Once you've laid down your watercolour, you can reactivate it you can leave it as long as you want before you reactivate it. I think that's what I was trying to say. So I could have laid that down and then come back to it much later to reactivate it. It actually makes your watercolours portable. I can create swatches with these pencils, and then I could take them out and I could paint a landscape with them, reactivating the colour just as I need it. And that's one thing I love about watercolour pencils, is you have that freedom to reactivate your colour at a later date, which is just a brilliant property. There we go. So I've just done some green on the leaves. How's that looking? It's looking gorgeous, isn't it? Right, I've got a lot of white here, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to come down. I'm just trying not to go into this bit here. I'm going to come right at the base with the metallic silver. It looks a bit like a regular pencil, doesn't it? But it's not. It's a metallic silver. And if you need to turn your card round, turn your card round. Don't feel like you have to always work from one angle. So I'm going to come with that there. Oh, that was a bit damp. And then I'm going to come with my brown next. So this is my paler brown, and you'll find I'm not holding it down at the tip. I'm holding it quite a long way up the pencil, and that's so that I don't press too hard. It just gives me a bit of control. Otherwise I look like I'm scratching down. I'm trying to go through the core of the earth otherwise, and I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to lay down that colour gently. And again, I'm just literally laying down. Can you see there's no finesse as such. It's just lay it down however you feel to begin with. Take it up as high as you want, just through here. But I'm loving these colours, brown and sort of tealy turquoise. Don't they work well together? I've seen clothes in that, so I should have known they would work, because I have seen dresses with those sorts of colours. So yeah, then I'm going to get my darker brown, and I'm just going to come round the last bit. Again, no sort of finesse as such, just lay down that colour however you want, because we're going to work with it once it's down. If these were a colour blend pencil, I'd be working in a completely different way, but they're not. They're watercolour pencils. So all I'm doing is bringing the medium, the watercolour medium, to my card, and then I use my brush to do the hard work, you know, to do the detail. So yeah, if you want to, you can always use your darker one just to outline some of the bits if you want them to be darker. So think it through logically. We need to start with the palest bit first. So I'm going to start here, and I'm just going to come up there, and I'm working through the grey into the brown. So just think logic. I don't want it to stay too grey, so I don't mind some of the brown moving into the grey. So then can you see straight away this brown is merging, the scratchy lines, as I like to think of it, are going. So we can come up through here, and then I can come up through there. Right, just drag it over his body, and then I'm going to work through. Ooh, I've just dropped some water. Oh, there we go. No, nothing ruined there. Let's put that there. Get rid of that one. Right, I'm going to work up through. That was very smoothly done, wasn't it? Are you impressed? Work up through the pale brown and into the darker brown. And then you can see I'm just working that darker brown. I don't want them to be a colour difference. I want it to be sort of, it just happens to go from the darker to the paler. There we go. All the way down. So I want it, you can lift the colour if you want by just adding a little bit more water. You just see if you feel like it's a little bit too dark, just lift. But it works so well. Doesn't the brown really make the blue pop. I love it. So if you think you've got some white left, then just drag your colour over it, so you can see, just like that. Don't be afraid. Colouring is one of the easiest ways to lay down colour. If you've never really done, if you've not coloured stamped images before, it is so much easier than with alcohol pens. It's much more forgiving, and it's a much easier one to learn with, and you get instant results with watercolour, whereas with alcohol pens you've got to work at it quite a lot harder. So yes, so don't be afraid of watercolour pencils. There are so many out there. I'll put some Amazon links on the bottom because I've seen quite a few really nice sets on Amazon. But there you go, look at that. Doesn't she look absolutely beautiful? Right, now those have dried off a little bit. I'm going to move that water out of the way. I'm going to grab this one. Now, to me, those are a little bit harsh. So all I'm going to do is just tone them down a little bit. If these had dried a lot longer, I'd probably rub over them, but they haven't. If you wanted to, you could always get your stencil. Always pick my stencil back up. And I'm never going to find it, am I? Oh, look at that. I could always pick up my stencil. Very cleverly find the bit that I had. I'm impressed. And I can always go back over that if you wanted to. Just like that. Oh, that looks good, doesn't it? So that one was down here somewhere. I'll never find in the bits again. That'll do roughly. There we go. That looks good, doesn't it? Now, one last bit I want to do. That is why I said keep hold of your mask, because I was doing it in a strange order. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put my mask back on. You can put your mask on as many times as you want. Now, you might choose not to put the mask on for this bit, but I did. Like you, it's your project. You do it how you want. So I'm going to bring those in. Now, do you remember I had some distress sprays earlier? I'm going to, because I was spraying them on the worktop, wasn't on the counter. So I'm going to get one. This is the brown one, and I'm just going to do a few splats. I know they're sprays. I find I get too much on if I spray them. So this was walnut stain. I have got vintage postcards as well. I'm going to get this one. This one is Crafter's Companion Sparkle one. They never sprayed properly. I don't know if you've got these. They really struggle to spray. They get clogged up really easy. So again, they work really well for splats. And then the final one I've got. Now this is really, really old. It's a, give it a shake, Pretty Gets Gritty, Pretty Chalky Cloud. It's just white. I never know what people do their white splats with. I need to ask some of my friends, what do you use to do white splats? Because this is quite pale, but I just wanted to bring back a little bit of white. Don't worry about it going over the mask, because remember, the mask is there to protect everything underneath. There you go, a little bit of mixed media techniques on here, as well as the watercolour pencils. I'm just going to dry this off and I will be right back. You don't need to see this. I don't want to make the video any longer than necessary. Be right back. Okay, so what I've done is I've dried that off. I have even added a little bit more sparkle pen to here and dried it off, and I've added a little bit to the flowers. Can you see that shimmering? Doesn't that look gorgeous? I want to just show you the one that I made as my prototype. I'll put them side by side. So that was my prototype, and this is the one we've just done live on the video. I prefer the one on the video. There's more going off. There's too many paler areas. I like that. I might actually have a go at doing some more bits to that to bring it up to how I want, but this is where I'm at. Now again, you've seen me do this lots of times, so I've done this bit in advance. I've done some mats and layers. I've done some tealy green, some white and some black. I like the white between the black and the green. It always looks better in my opinion. It's up to you. Now I have just, as well, while I was drying it, I put some red liner tape on the back. 6-2 red liner tape, absolutely brilliant. It's going to hold. Now the card has bent a little bit. It goes straighter the drier it gets. Now if this was if it didn't have the texture paste on the front, what I would probably do is put it through my die cutting machine through some paper with surrounded by paper to get it flat, but it's got texture paste on, so I can't do that. So all I'm going to do now is I put the red liner tape on, so the red liner tape is going to grab it for me once I lay it down. I put wet glue in the middle, put that, and the red liner around the outside is going to hold it flat. You see, so I lose all of that bend. Look at that, it's gone completely flat. Now there's not a lot of raised texture and dimension on this, but I am loving how it's looking. Now the other thing I did was I've got some sheets. You've seen me use these before. These are my smaller sentiments. They're not my hunky-dory ones. These are just some typed ones. So I've got a couple, and I've just put some, they are adhesive backs, but I've just put some foam tape on the back because I wanted them raised, and also I've just roughed them up a little bit with my ink pads that I've been using because they were just too perfect. So all I'm going to do is pop these onto here. I put black foam pads on because I didn't want white. I felt white would be too stark if you could see them, so the black hides them as well. So just pop in those on there. I know I've got my Hello Friend, but I've got my extra little bits. I've put my new tweezers somewhere safe, and I don't know where the safe place is. I will find, they will be so obvious when I finish this video. You know, don't you ever have that? One point I wanted to make is I just wanted to show you when you have your stencil on, your mask on, everything, because you can see that this butterfly is just sitting there, because you can see the brickwork blending in where I've stamped over it and the sentiments. Everything just sort of blends in. But can't you see, once I lift that stencil off, because this image is clean, pristine from the background, doesn't it look like it's raised? It's such a clever technique. It's a technique I love to use, and it just gives such an amazing effect. I love it. I really, really do. Just to create that look and feel of dimension. I'm just putting a few of these black ones on different sizes. And you know what? I'm going to leave it there because I think that is so pretty. I am loving that. 10th fold, you know I always do 10th fold. You do your side fold if that's what you prefer. I've started with 5.5 by 6.5. I think I've gone to, if I remember rightly, what did I start? I've gone to about, so it was 5.5 by 6, and I'm at just over 7 by just over 6.5. Yeah, I had to think about that then. But how about that? I think that is lovely. It's really postable because it's fairly flat. It's got little bits of dimension, little bit of texture. It's got a bit of sparkle. But aren't those colours amazing? I am loving that. The other thing you could do if you really wanted to make that butterfly pop is you could go around the edge in a blue or a grey, just to give it a bit of a shadow, and that would maybe make it pop out even more. Loads and loads of techniques that you can do. I hope you like that. I'm going to put some links down at the bottom for things like my watercolour card, the rock, stamping platforms, stamping blocks and things like that. See if I can find some texture paste. I always link to stencils that I can find. But I hope you enjoyed that. I've enjoyed showing you that. Again, we're not going for any necessary techniques. We are just going to enjoy crafting because that's what we want to do. So, as I said before, please don't forget to subscribe. Like I said, click on any of the links, and thank you to everybody that has contributed to my Buy Me a Coffee page. I keep getting lots of lovely contributions that way. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you so, so much. And until next time, I think I might do a little bit of Christmas because, as you all know, it's Christmas in July. Everyone does Christmas in July. I might jump on the bandwagon. I've got some Christmas ideas. So, yeah, why not? So until next time, have a lovely weekend. I hope you've enjoyed that. Let me know if this inspires you to make anything, just picking up a few of those techniques, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.